So let's talk about creative love. Creative love is so alive, it's so juicy. The key words for creative love are creativity, communication, inspiration, having ideas and getting a sense of what's possible. When creative love happens in relationship, there's that sense of harmony, listening to each other, communicating back and forth, sharing new ideas, and being part of something greater than the sum of its parts. Keywords might be things like, I hear you, I get you, feeling tuned in to the same wavelength, right? That kind of feeling that you get with other people. The polarity of creative love is not really such a strong duality. It's more like two aspects of the same flow. So the polarity of creative love is the polarity between the whole and individual expression. My contribution is I as a unique being versus me being part of something much greater, the symphony of life or whatever the project is that we're working on. There's also an aspect of polarity between creation versus nothingness, empty space that's full of potential and possibility. When we're relating through this flavor of love, there's this distinct, bubbly or fresh aliveness that comes with creative love. In its more concentrated, more intense form, creative love is the process of really recreating yourself. Right? Relationships that give you a sense of who you are and what's possible for you. Relationships that help you create yourself as a new human being. And when you're in that kind of relationship, there's this deep sense of love, a deep sense of being seen and possibility. Sometimes that happens with a lover or a partner, but often it happens with friends, colleagues, often with spiritual teachers, maybe a therapist, a coach, a mentor. There's people that we meet along our life that give us the sense that we are capable of way, way more than we believe. And we usually don't forget those people because they transform us. That love is creative love. In its more diffuse form, its more social form, creative love is lots of fun, right? It's a kind of love that happens between bandmates when they're jamming together on stage and improvising and the music takes them and you can feel it, it's palpable, like they're falling in love with each other as they're creating this amazing music. Sometimes creative love happens at work when you're working on a team and there's just that sense of synergy and collaboration. And it might just be working on a marketing plan or a new product, but the joy and the connection that happens as you're doing it together, that's the flavor of creative love. Sometimes creative love happens in families or friends when we're doing something together, and it has that sense of expanding us beyond our usual, normal, habitual life. So creative love is a great one to practice at work, in community, with friends, in a very, very general way. It doesn't have to be limited just to the intimate people in your life. Now, what happens when creative love is out of balance? Well, one option is that creative love gets stopped or blocked. And when that happens, usually how we experience it is that our life feels very narrow and stifled. When there's a lack of creativity, a lack of communication, it feels almost like everyone in your life is playing the same role that they've always played. Everyone's doing the same thing they've always done. Everyone's almost like reading from a predetermined script. And when we're in relationships like that, it feels usually very stifling, very dead, and there's no sense of possibility. Sometimes that happens at work. We feel like our creativity, our self-expression in the world is very limited, and then we start to live in that kind of cubicle like Dilbert, right? And that sort of suffocated, airless feeling in our life. That's a sign that creative love is blocked or stifled in some way. Another way that creative love can be out of balance is when you're using your creativity to serve somebody else's vision. And then maybe there's something that feels good about that at first, but ultimately you're not really expressing yourself. So there could be a sense of not being in balance in that way. You're helping something happen that doesn't feel really true to you, and you're not able to sing your unique song, your individual expression. And that also ultimately feels deeply, deeply frustrating. That can happen in our intimate relationships, it can happen at work, in all kinds of situations. So creative love is actually way more important than we realize. And sometimes we try and resolve this suffocation or this feeling trapped through all kinds of other channels. But the thing that's really missing is you speaking your truth, you singing your song, you expressing yourself in the world in a way that's authentic. So there's a few things that you can do to help cultivate creative love in your life. Just going to give you 4 to get you started. The first thing that's really, really important is using your voice, literally. You can practice singing in the shower, you can sing in your car, you can speak gibberish, make funny noises. Just do whatever it takes to get your voice alive again, to get a sense of what your voice actually sounds like. Not trying to be pretty, not trying to make it into the school choir, just getting a sense of your own voice. The second thing is really, really important is to communicate and be honest. Right? Creative love flows through honest communication and through honest listening. Right? Love happens both directions, sharing yourself and receiving. That's how harmony is created. So the second thing to do is to start speaking your truth. Not necessarily being offensive or obnoxious about it, but just saying it and see what happens. The third thing that you can do is the flip side of that, is deep listening. Start to listen to people as they speak. Listen to the tone of their voice, the musicality of how they speak. Start listening for the deeper message behind what they're saying. And notice what kind of relationship that creates when you listen that way. And the fourth thing to do to start activating creative love is to do something creative. Do something outrageous. Don't just go to a concert, but pick up a guitar and start playing. You know, who knows? Maybe you'll actually discover that you're pretty good at it. Start painting. Start cooking in the kitchen. Do things that are different. And maybe even come up with some outrageous creative project that you can do with people in your life. Find something really fun to do. Tear up the backyard. Create a community garden. Go on a trip. Just do something that feels true to you and that feels juicy, alive, and creative. And you'll see, it'll start to impact your life and your relationships in magical, mysterious ways. So this is creative love. It's yours to play with. Let yourself get excited and creative about what's possible for you.